Hey, what's up everyone? My name's John and welcome to The Creed. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up dropshipping Pinterest ads to go through and not only make paid purchases, but actually get a very large amount of organic purchases utilizing the Pinterest platform. The best way to go through this is I'm just going to walk you through every single individual step. So grab your computers and let's hop right into this. So as you can see here right now, I am in Pinterest Business Manager. So it's just like Facebook Business Manager, but for Pinterest. And we're gonna go through each step. So all that you need to do is start right up here at the top. Once you've created your Pinterest account and have your Pinterest tag active on your website, you go up and you hit Create Ad. Once you hit Create Ad, what that will do is it will bring you into the ad setup. And what we're gonna be doing is optimizing for conversions because we wanna go through and get some purchases. So coming through here, it's just like Facebook, you have the campaign setup, and typically how I like to title this is with a basic amount of information, but just enough so that when I'm going through and I'm looking at my ad sets and I'm looking at my campaigns, I know exactly what's inside each one, so it keeps everything super organized. So what I'll do is an abbreviation of the products, so we'll just do DG, and then we're gonna go and make it a conversion campaign, and it's gonna be interests, and then whatever country we're targeting. So for this one, what we'll do is we'll target tier 4 countries. Tier $signs, tier 4 countries. And then what I would typically put is my break-even ROAS. And the reason why I like to put this on the campaign is because it shows exactly what the break-even ROAS is that I'm going for. And then if I go back and I look at what the break-even ROAS is for this entire campaign that has all these ad sets in it, I can see if the campaign as a whole is still above my break-even ROAS. Because if the campaign as a whole, meaning all your paused ads, all of your active ads, if your campaign as a whole is still above your break-even ROAS, that means your campaign is profitable and you're making money. So coming through here, we'll put the break-even ROAS as a 1.60 just because, why not? Hit continue, and this takes you to the ad set level. So as you all know, on every single one of my videos, I do offer a free consultation called the One Lucky Winner. All that you need to do is go comment down below, welcome to the Creed, give this video a thumbs up and hit that red button, become a member of the Creed, and you'll be entered to win that call. The winner from the last video is And Keep Aurora. All that you need to do is go find the link to my Instagram down below, send me a message and connect to that call. When it comes to Pinterest ads, this is the ad creation stage 1. It's getting a little bit more detailed here because I want to share a little bit more information with all you guys from my last Pinterest video. So when it comes to ad creation, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 4 to 5 broad interests. What this means is with Pinterest, you have both the broad, narrowed down, and the super narrowed down interests, and you go through each step of these to narrow down your audience. So you want to start with your funnel big, so Pinterest gives you the ability of doing that with 4 to 5 broad interests. So as we come through here, what we're going to do is we're going to go find the interests, and these are the broad interests. So as you can see, everything is set up nice and easy to follow along. So each category is set up with a broad interest. If you can't find the exact interest that you're looking for in these general ones that are right here, let's say you want to go through and you want to do something to do with hair, right? So we would just type in hair. And then what would come up is the broad interest. So as you can see, hair comes up, but then it's going to show you exactly what the broad interest is for hair if you have a hair care product. So what we would do is we would select beauty as the broad interest. So B-U-T, always have to sound it out like that. So beauty is our broad interest, and we're going to go with that one. So we'll exit out of that. And as you can see, the entire broad interest of beauty is selected because hair was in there. So we're going to go with the beauty. And as I mentioned right here, we're doing 4 to 5 of these, but I'm only going to go through and set up one because you can go through and set up the other ones as we continue along. So beauty, and then once we come in here, Pinterest gives you the ability to add keywords. What a keyword does with the Pinterest algorithm is it acts as an and or. So it doesn't replace the actual interest that you're targeting. What it does is it overlaps with the interest that you're targeting. So let's say you're targeting beauty. If it finds someone that's interested in beauty as a primary, so first off interested in beauty, but then they also have shown interest in posts that have the tags of these ones that you include there, this basically indicates to Pinterest that not only does this person like beauty, but they also like some of the keywords that you've inputted, which means they're a much higher converting lead. There's a higher chance that this person's more willing to purchase your product because it lines up with more than just your interest. It lines up with your keywords too. So if the person doesn't line up with your keywords and they only line up with your interest, that's when Pinterest goes and it will just choose the person based off your interest. So I hope that all makes sense. So here I say add 25 keywords, and Pinterest is really good for this. All that you need to do is just type in your broad interest keywords, so beauty, and then what it will do is it will bring up all of these different ones to do with beauty. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hit add all results, and this will populate all the main ones that have to do with beauty that have the highest amount of traffic, so the highest amount of people that are clicking on these different keywords throughout Pinterest. And that's why I like doing it this way. You input the broad interest, let it generate what the ones are that they think you should be using, and then you just toss them on there. And I say use 25 minimum. I typically won't go above 25 just because there's no real reason to. If you want to add more, you can, but 25 is a great amount to start with. All genders and all ages, because this is our initial test, so we want to keep it nice and broad. We're starting with broad interests, all genders, a good amount of keywords, so all genders, keeping it that way. All ages, unless of course your product is meant for a higher age group, but in general, you want to leave all ages open because the Pinterest audience as a whole for the platform isn't as large as other social media platforms, so you want to make sure that you're keeping it nice and wide open. For locations, as I mentioned, we're going to be targeting tier 4 countries, so that what we would do is we would put it in, so Australia. Okay, so I've just put in all tier 4 countries, and as you can see over here, the reach has gotten a lot larger, and it says broad, so we're at 77 to 85 million for our reach with tier 4 country targeting. So as you can see, all 4 countries are in there. As for the language, since the ads are in English, what we're going to do is we'll select English, because you want only people that can actually understand your ads to be getting served them. For devices, we're going to leave all devices because people that use Pinterest are actually quite evenly split between mobile and desktop, so we want to make sure that we're hitting people on both of those devices, so we'll just leave all of those nice and open. So as you can see here, I mentioned tier 4 countries: Canada, United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom, all devices and placements. There's no point in narrowing down your placements until later on. When you're initially testing a product and you're going nice and broad, you want to make sure that Pinterest can hit it on all the different placements, and Pinterest doesn't have anywhere near as many placements as Facebook or Instagram does, so just let it use all of its placements and utilize that to your advantage. Coming through here, add group placements, that's what we just went over. So there's only a couple, so let it do its thing and use all of them. You don't want to expand the Pinterest tag. That's something you will only be doing when you're working with really high budgets and your Pinterest tag has a good amount of data that it can actually expand upon. So until you have that data, there's no point in using Pinterest expansion because it has nothing to expand upon. For the daily budget, as you can see here, I mentioned making it $20. So we're making it a little bit larger. These are interest ads, but you need to think of them in terms of broad interest ads. Since it is quite broad, we need to give it a good amount of money so that it can go through and it can find the ideal customers within these very large groups of people. So for the budget, we're going to put $20 per day, and we're setting this at the ad set level. So when we come through here, the unfortunate thing about Pinterest is, and I did chat with them, you can't change the time zone. It's the most retarded thing, but you can't change the time zone. So you'll notice that it's in UTC. In my time zone, I'm in PST, so Pacific Standard Time. So what you need to do is you just need to go through and figure out what the conversion is so that your ads are starting at 12 a.m. your time. So you want your ads to start at 12 a.m. your time. So for me, what I realized is that means 7 UTC. So 7 UTC means my time. Typically what I'll do is I'll set up the ads to start the next day. Obviously you want them to run for an entire day. So we're starting them at 12 a.m. the following day. And as you progress along and start scaling out a product, what I highly recommend you start doing is actually setting up all of your ad campaigns to start 2 days ahead. And then this way you don't actually have to stay up super late making sure that you're creating new ads, all of this different stuff. You can always be 1 day ahead. That's the goal. You want to be 1 day ahead. If you can be even more days ahead in a scale, make sure that you can go through and do that. So we're gonna set that up with the time zone, and then once we come through here, you wanna make sure that your Pinterest tag is all set up and activated on your website. That's something you can go through and watch and figure out on your own. We're gonna set it up for checkout conversion purchases because Pinterest does not have the purchase option. So again, we're just gonna go with checkout because that is the highest conversion value, and it actually does only register purchases. I know it says checkout, it's just a little bit of a mess around with your mind, but it does actually mean purchase. I've checked all of the data and it does line up with purchase events. So checkout is what we go with. Bidding, we're gonna leave it as automatic. You can go through and adjust it for custom, but since we're just going super broad and we're letting Pinterest do its thing, we're gonna leave it in nice automatic mode. So down here, I mentioned in the initial ad setup, we want to use 2 creatives. So what this means is when you're marketing a product, whether it be a photo ad or a video ad, you always want to make sure that you start off with 2 creatives. And this is absolutely vital when testing a product because a lot of ad sets perform very differently with different ad creatives. So when you're starting out, you want to give it at least 2 that are even just the slightest little bit different, because that small amount of difference might mean the difference between a successful product test and a failed product test. So giving it the 2 options from my past record has just proven consistently to create more and more successful products every single time, because the one that I thought might not even do that well ends up outperforming the one that I thought was a banger ad. So just put 2 in there and make sure you do it that way. So the way to add 2 different ads is just like this. I just found some random products here and input them. So when it comes to selecting them, all that you do is you click on them, and then this is where you would add the ad name. So we would call this like vid number 1. And then you would add the destination URL, which of course would be the product page, right? That's all that you would want to put in there. And then down here, this is a different product, but we would obviously want it to just be a variation of the same product's ad. So then this one, we would call it vid number 2. So that way you know exactly which one is what. So vid number 1, vid number 2, and then the same destination URL. And this is just using the pins that you already created. So what you're doing is you're selecting the 2 pins or the 2 ads that you already created. And when it comes to the creation of the ad, as you can see here, what I want you to go through and do is make sure that the ad title is captivating and draws the viewer in. So you can set up the ad in the actual ad setup, or you can go through and you can create a pin on the back end and then it will just be available like these ones right here that I randomly created. Or you can go through and create it during your ad setup. So if you want to create it during your ad setup, all that you need to do is just go into all pins and then you hit down here, create pin. And this is where you're going to be able to set up your entire pin, so your ad itself. So when it comes to the title, and I say right here, captivating title to draw in the viewer, you want it to be something that's like, whoa, because this is the big bold lettering that's on the pin in that Pinterest section where people can explore and look at all the different stuff and lose their crap when they're trying to design a massive house or something crazy. So what we would do for this one, let's say that it's a hair care product, again, going with the hair straightening, we're gonna be like, no more frizzy hair. Because that's a really big thing, really big pain point for a lot of girls is frizzy hair, especially in the summertime if they're in really humid climates. No more frizzy hair. When it comes to a Pinterest ad, it won't let you put emojis in the actual title. So that's a big thing. It won't let you put any emojis in the title, but it will let you put them down here in the about section. So we're gonna actually get rid of that because it won't let us do that. But then in the about section down here, we're gonna put in something to do with what's going on. So supporting information and product page link in the description. So supporting what we just stated right here, where no more frizzy hair. What does that mean? This product eliminates the frizz and brings back the shine. There we go. So no more frizzy hair. Whoa, what does that mean? Well, what that means is it eliminates the frizz and it brings back the shine, baby. So you're gonna have that beautiful glossy hair that all these girls want. And then what we'll do down here, since we are allowed to, is we'll put the little heart eyes because I do like to include emojis in my ad formats. Then over here, what you'll do is you'll just click this and you'll drag it, or you'll drag and drop in your video. So when it comes to the video, the file format has to be a specific type. As you can see see here, I'm not sure if it mentions, no, it doesn't mention, but it does have to be a specific format. And that format is H.264 format. So that just means it's a more compressed file and it's easier to upload to the Pinterest platform because they don't want all these big bulky files on their platform. It will drag it, it will slow it down, especially their ad platform where they're creating ads. So H.264 with a 1080 by 1080p sizing. If you do want to get a little bit more technical, Pinterest does allow photos or videos that are a little bit more tall, so a little bit more like the shape of a phone, which you can go through and experiment with that. But the thing about that is you're gonna have to change things around. When you do 1080 by 1080, you can go through and you can use the same ad that you were using for Facebook and Instagram, so it's a lot easier. But as you go along and you get more technical, I would definitely recommend making it a little bit longer so that it fills more of the screen on Pinterest. So that's something you're gonna wanna do a little bit later on once the product's proven. Don't waste your time on that until the product has been proven. Link directly to the product page, that's huge, and it's the same for Facebook, same for Pinterest. There's no point in taking this somewhere that doesn't have to do with the product. A strong, appealing thumbnail. So when Pinterest is going and they're presenting your ad to everyone, it's on the Explore page of Pinterest, and Pinterest is an incredibly visual platform, and it's primarily women. So when it comes to going and creating a strong, appealing thumbnail, make it something that's really gonna pop and explode and set you out from all the other people that are on Pinterest. And the best way to do this is go through and look up the broad interests that you're planning on targeting and see what all the different types of things are that populate when you go and you search up that broad interest. Try to create a thumbnail that will stand out in all of that clutter. You'll notice a color scheme pattern. You're gonna notice kind of wording patterns. And what you wanna do is you wanna go through and create something that's completely different, completely unique, and it will stand out from all the rest of them. So that makes sure you wanna create a strong, appealing thumbnail. Down here is where you add your destination link, and then after that, all you need to do is hit publish, and you will want to publish this to what's called a board. So a board is where you collect all of your different pins or ads, and this is like a collection. So typically what you would want to do is you want to name this something not too extravagant or crazy, and not like buy this or anything, just like cool things or something like that, because it will be public and anyone that sees your Pinterest profile will see that board. So don't make it something stupid, make it actually something kind of reasonable. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll exit out of this. Okay, so after creating your pin, this is what would happen. You would have your pin available over here under all pins, and then you would just simply click on the two different videos that you created and inputted into Pinterest. And of course they would have the same title, the same description. The only thing that's different is the video. Keep the thumbnail the same too. You don't want to change too many variables. You want to keep just the video different. And then you would select both of them. They would populate right here after you select them. Make sure that the destination link is still correct. And then all that you need to do is go down here and hit that big red launch button, baby, and you are off to the races with Pinterest ads. And trust me, this is a great way to start out with a broad interest targeting, but I don't want to just leave you there. Trust me, John's got you and the Creed's got you. We're gonna go a step deeper to give you a better understanding of what to do proceeding forwards beyond these 4 to 5 broad interests. So when we come through here, ad creation stage number 2 is gonna be 10 to 15 narrow interest targets. So what that means, if we come back up here, scroll all the way to the top and go back to these interests. So we come back up here. These are our broad interests. Then if we click into our broad interests, we have our narrow interests. And then if we click into our narrow interests, we have our even narrower interests. So when it comes to doing narrow interests, what we're gonna do is one click deep. So that means you go into your broad interest and you click deep into one. So what we would do is if it's a hair care product, at this point, what we would do is we only select hair. So that would bring down the audience size a decent amount. You're chopping about 20 million people off the audience size. And what we would do is we would do 10 to 15 of these narrow interest targets. Again, we would want to add 25 keywords. So we're going to get rid of these keywords. And for this one, now this time, it's just hair. So we put in hair, and then what it does is it populates 25 of the ones that rank the highest in Pinterest for search volume, for interaction, for these keywords, and we add all of them in there, and now we have the 25. Exact same process, all genders, all ages, tier 4 countries, all devices. This time though, what we're doing is we're setting the budget at only $5 per day, because what we're doing is we're adding a lot more, so 10 to 15, because now we're trying to expand out and get a larger amount of interests, as opposed to just trying to find certain people in one very broad one. So we're doing a little bit more of the detailed targeting instead of letting Pinterest do it. And this is why it's ad variation number 2, is because you want to stack these on top of each other. You want to start with the broad ones, and then in the second stage of the ad creation, you want to break it down, make that funnel just a little bit smaller, but toss out more little minions to go through and find you more products. Check out conversion events, and again with 2 creatives, to ensure that you have the highest chance of succeeding with a successful product test. This is something that is so huge that so many people don't do, and I cannot stress it enough. Make sure you include 2 creatives in your product test, because this will give you a much higher chance of finding that winning product, and not only finding that winning product, but maybe going through and finding a product that you would have passed on before, but now that second creative is kicking in and it is making you some money. Thank you all so much for joining me on this video. If you haven't subscribed to the Creed, 100% go through, hit that red button and become a member of the Creed. If you do have any questions, you can go ahead, send me a message on Instagram, or you can go through and join the Ecom Creed Masters group. It is a really cool group with a lot of people in there giving each other some help and pushing everyone's business forward. If there's anything that didn't make any sense, leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to answer it down there. Thank you all so much for joining me on this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.